Krishna. Hare Adhyatamanandasya Dinamjana Salakaya Chatsu Anuritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Maya Vrupadam Maya Vrupadam Manchakalpatu Yascha Kripasya Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, sometimes people ask me, you have been a devotee, Hare Krishna devotee, for 50 years. What is your secret? Well, I have two secrets. You want to hear?
Yes.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
So, number one, I've always told other people about Krishna. Whenever you get a chance, tell someone about Krishna. You'll be surprised how Krishna will reciprocate with your little small effort in the beginning. You want to know the second secret?
Yes, Maharaj.
I've always preached in difficult places. Krishna also notices that you make an extra effort not to be in a comfort zone, but to be on the front line. Also, another question that's asked to me, what is it about Srila Prabhupada that you like the most? You all know English, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Just about Prabhu.
So, it's a very difficult question to answer because everything about Prabhupada was very special. But if I think about it, for me, the contribution that Prabhupada has given me is that he was the only one who told me the truth, where everyone else has been telling me lies. This is a world of lies. Lies after lies after lies after lies. Lies, lies, lies. And what about some more lies? Lies, lies, lies. There's one story. One tailor, he presented himself to the king. He said, "My dear king, I will make you clothes that everyone will appreciate them. Anyone who doesn't appreciate them will be considered fool number one." So the king was very intrigued. "Oh, yes, go ahead. Make the clothes. When you've completed, let me know." So the tailor went off, and 1 month later he contacted the king, said, "Your clothes are ready." So he came to the castle of the king, and he presented a box. "Here is your new clothes." He put them on because all the citizens are also waiting to see the word has gone around. The king in his new clothes. So the king went into his chamber. He opened the box, and there was nothing in there. But he didn't want to feel like a fool, so he pretended, oh, very nice clothes, I will change. He took his old clothes off and put the new clothes on. And then he started parading the streets. There was big celebration. Bugles were being blown, drums were being sounded, and everyone was glorifying the king in his new clothes. Until one child suddenly said, "The king has no clothes on." And everyone was that a child that said that? Because we know that when a child says something, we need to believe, because usually the child doesn't lie. And then everyone realized actually the king didn't have any clothes on. So that little boy was like Srila Prabhupada. He came to the Western world and he told the Western society, "You're in Maya. You're in Maya." And he went point for point for point for point as to why we are in Maya, why we are suffering so much. And he presented, of course, the literature which is helping us to understand the difference between reality and illusion, between right and wrong. And this is how I feel that Prabhupada has helped me the most. That I can now distinguish between these two sides, the side of the non-devotees and the side of the devotees. In the Bhagavatam is explained, the non-devotees, they're like crows. You have heard the crow? You know the sound of the crow? What's the sound of a crow? Huh? Gra, gra, gra. The crow is very attached to its nesting place. Go away, this is my home. Gra, gra, gra. He doesn't look very beautiful. And he gets his food in the garbage bins. The swan is much different. The swan is very peaceful. It's not attached to one particular place. He will reside in different places of the lake. He's always cleaning itself. It's sparkling, clean, white, clean. And it has the ability also to, when you give them milk, to extract the cream and leave the water. Oh, this is a swan. So in Krishna consciousness, we are associating with each other, like-minded, and we develop these swan qualities. And we start rejecting all these things that we learned from the non-devotee world. My son, I told him when he was 21, we brought him up as a devotee. I said, "You're very lucky, because now, even though you're 21, all you need is an occupation." When I was 21, I first joined the temple in Berry Place. And the first 10 years, I had to forget what I learned in the first 20 years. The first 10 years of Krishna consciousness, I had to somehow negate what I had learned in the 20 years since I was born. And then I was able to move on. I said, you don't need to do that, you just need an occupation. Isn't that wonderful? So we're creating a generation, a society of devotees. And our mission is to give you this knowledge so that ultimately you'll be lovers of Krishna and you will go back home, back to Krishna. Then we will leave this material world which is full of suffering, and go to the Vaikuntha Loka, the place where there's no anxiety. So I'm going to first read out some of the differences between the material world and the spiritual world. Is that okay? Actually, you can repeat them with me because it will be very nice if we all chant these. So say after me. Material world.
Material world.
Temporary and miserable.
Temporary and miserable.
Spiritual world.
Spiritual world.
Permanent and blissful.
Permanent and blissful.
Material world.
Material world.
Contaminated.
Contaminated.
Spiritual world.
Spiritual world.
Pure.
Pure.
Temporary jail.
Temporary jail.
Permanent home.
Permanent home.
Birth, death, old age, and disease.
Birth, death, and disease.
Eternal youthful existence.
Eternal youthful existence.
Made up of material elements.
Made up of material elements.
Made up of pure spirit.
Made up of pure spirit.
Work to survive.
Love to survive.
Play for fun.
Play for fun.
Ownership.
Ownership.
Home, money, car, etc.
Home, money, car, etc.
Are mine. Are mine. Not mine. Are mine. Ownership.
Ownership.
Everything belongs to
Everything belongs to
Krishna. Consciousness.
consciousness.
I want to enjoy.
I want to enjoy.
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
I want to serve.
I want to serve.
Mentality.
Mentality.
I am the master.
I am the master.
Mentality.
Mentality.
I'm the master.
I'm the servant. Anyway, we'll work on you. Selfish, false ego.
False ego.
I am this body.
I am this body.
True ego.
True ego.
I am spirit soul.
I am spirit soul.
I am the center of the universe.
I am the center of the universe.
Krishna is the center of everyone's affection.
Krishna is the center of everyone's affection.
Body,
Body.
temporary.
Temporary.
Body,
Body.
eternal. Few more, just a few more. Forgetfulness of Krishna.
Forgetfulness of Krishna.
Using everything in Krishna's service.
Using everything in Krishna's service.
Lust, anger, greed, envy.
Lust, anger, greed, envy.
A devotee decorated with selfless love. Humility,
Humility.
forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Material body with deficiencies.
Material body with deficiencies.
Spiritual body beautiful and absolute.
Spiritual body beautiful and absolute.
And the last one. Suffering comes from one's own body,
Suffering comes from body,
mind,
mind,
and other living beings.
and other living beings.
And in the spiritual world,
The spiritual world,
no suffering,
no suffering,
ever increasing
ever increasing
happiness.
happiness.
Did you like that?
Yes.
Very powerful, isn't it? There is a difference, and we should know it. Of course, we, as devotees, we overcome a lot of the miseries of the material world, but there will always be, still, no matter how spiritually elevated you are, there will be difficulties, because that's the nature of this world. This is a song by, do you know George Harrison, one of the Beatles?
Yes.
he sang this song, which was interesting because, well, the name of the song is Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, which means between Maya and material existence. So I'll read this song. It's talking about Maya. I don't want you, but I hate to lose you. You have that feeling? You're attached to something, but you can't let it go. You got me in between the devil and the deep blue sea. I forgive you, because I can't forget you. You've got me in between the devil and the deep blue sea. I want to cross you off my list, but when you come knocking on my door, fate seems to give my heart a twist, and I come running back for more. I should hate you, but I guess I love you. You got me in between the devil and the deep blue sea. So this is our problem. We are attached to the things of this world. Somehow we have to learn how to dovetail what we have and use it in Christian service. This is one of our objectives. And as far as material material progress, we can limit that too. We don't need to have a PhD to have a good time. We don't need a house or a yacht. We can be satisfied with what we've already got to have a good time. There's many quotes like that we can say about the material world and the things of it. But the good thing that we have is the Hare Krishna mantra. And when we do chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we seem to have a good time. Not seem, it is obvious we're having a good time. We just sang the Hare Krishna mantra. You all look very happy and satisfied. Just a few moments of chanting, it gives us so much happiness and satisfaction. Going back to the materialistic world, this is something I picked up. Material world in the 21st century. Would you like to hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
Our communication, wireless. Our phones, cordless. Our cooking, fireless. Our food, fatless. Our sweets, sugarless. Our labor, effortless. Our relations, fruitless. Our attitude, careless. Our feelings, heartless. Our politics, shameless. Our education, worthless. Our mistakes, countless. Our government, baseless. Our arguments, baseless. Our youth, jobless. Our ladies, topless. Our boss, brainless. Our jobs, thankless. Our needs, endless. Our situation, hopeless. And our salaries, less and less. I like that too. It's so wonderful. I don't know. I got it from somewhere. But here's a couple of reggae songs. Would you like to hear that?
Yes.
These were recorded by a devotee group back in the early 80s. It was the first Hare Krishna reggae group. And they did some really nice songs, and this is a couple of them. This portrays the materialistic society too. It's called the vile society. They're trying to hang their hat where their hand can't reach. And those who don't know nothing, they're trying to teach. Their hearts are hard like stone, yet they pretend to weep. And those who don't sow nothing, they're trying to reap. They kill their children before they're born, and they kill the elephant just to get the horn. They don't care anymore what they eat, and will slaughter animals just to get the meat. They're intoxicating themselves to death, and smoke and fire has become their breath. The brain is just like a gaping hole, and they don't know nothing about the spirit soul. Now the air is nothing but factory smoke, yet everybody is going broke. The school is just like a slaughterhouse where they love to read about Mickey Mouse. And the women all want to be the men, and the men can only remember when. And the children leave when they learn to walk, and with obscene language they learn to talk. History repeats itself, they say, and there is an end to the longest day. So don't feel bad when the axe comes down, because you wouldn't know if to smile or frown. No matter what you may say or do, you can only get what's coming to you. And the only way you can change your fate is by going back to our spiritual state. So when you see that things start smoking, you know the fire ain't far behind. There won't be time to turn back when the big wheel starts to grind. For when the human being starts sinking and the standard gets too low, such a violent society ain't got long to go. It's very powerful and it's very true. You believe it, yeah?
Yeah.
It's all around us. And this is the other reggae song, which is for the devotees, and you can help me sing this one. Now I want you to sing the chorus with me, okay? So say after me, come and join the congregation.
Come and join the congregation.
To the chanting of the holy name.
Chanting of the holy name.
You don't need to change your situation.
You don't need to change your situation.
Or you'll never be the same.
You'll never be the same.
All right, you remember that? I'll do some verses and then in between we'll chant the chorus. This is the age, it's the iron age.
This is Iron Age.
This is my part. Don't steal my part. This is the age, it's the iron age. Everybody's living on the iron wage. Gone are the days of silver and gold. If you live till 20, you'll be very old. So, come and join the congregation. It is the chanting of the holy name. You don't need to change your situation, but you'll never be the same. Now listen to what the good book said. Just try and make it out while you're still ahead. You don't have too much time to waste if you really want to get that higher taste. So,
Come and join the congregation.
it is the chanting of the holy name. You don't need to change your situation. Very good. Everybody here can play a part, and you'll feel that power within your heart. You don't have to bother what people think, because they don't really care if you swim or sink. So,
Come and join the congregation. Chanting the holy name. You don't need to change your situation.
you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. So I really don't see how you can refuse. There's nothing to pay, it don't cost you a cent. You wouldn't even see which way your trouble went. So,
Come join the congregation, chanting the name.
Don't need to change the situation. Remember to be the same.
That name will enter every single home because it's even sweeter than honeycomb. It's got more power than an atom bomb because Goloka is the place where it's coming from.
Come and join the congregation, chanting the name. Don't need to change the situation. Remember to be the same.
Haribol. So have you joined the chanting congregation?
Yes,
Are you all chanting?
yes.
Put up your hands, who's chanting? Oh, very good. And do you feel that power within your heart?
Yes.
And you feel how your mind is becoming more peaceful?
Yes.
Actually, you know, there's one verse in the Bhagavatam where it's explained that when you become a devotee, the mind doesn't become peaceful right away. And the reason is because by Krishna's arrangement, he takes all the impurities that are within the heart and brings them to the mind. You know, sometimes devotees, they ask this question, how come since I've been a devotee that my mind is giving me so much trouble? And that's actually the reason. Because it's better that it comes to the mind. In Kali Yuga, you cannot get any reactions from what you're thinking in the mind. It's only when you act out from the heart and you get reactions. So therefore, this is Krishna's grace too, that all impurities come to the mind so that eventually, even in the mind, it just disappears. But before that, because in mind there's no reaction, we don't actually feel that we still feel we're making a lot of advancement forward. And Prabhupada also said that these reactions, action reactions, they gradually slow down. He gives the example of a fan. Yeah? Let's say the fan is spinning like this, action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. And then you start chanting, and then suddenly action, reaction, action, reaction, action, no reaction. And birth, death, 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 back home. No more birth, death. See? This is the wonderful thing about Krishna consciousness. It's all auspicious and all powerful, and it affects everyone. We're all parts and parcels of Krishna, and therefore we all have the unique ability to become Krishna conscious. The only question is, do you have the desire to want to get out of this world and go back home? That's all. It's all based on desire. If you have the desire to stay here, you will. If you have the desire to go back home, you will also go back home. It's really our choice. It's our choice. It's the only thing that we can actually choose from. You know, Maya or Krishna. Of course, in the beginning, we can pick both of them. Well, a little bit of Maya and a little bit of Krishna, then I'm going to be very happy. Oh, I gave a little bit too much to Krishna. I gave a little bit more to Maya. But after a while, at some point, you know, you've got to actually make a decision. You're going to decide which one do you want. Do you want Maya or do you want Krishna? And then your life will depend on that choice. So anyone who's got some good intelligence will see the falsity, the impurities of this world, the madness of this world. I mean, I'm 72 now, Do I look 72?
No, Maharaj.
What do you
You're very
think?
young.
Huh?
You're looking very young.
Yeah, I don't feel old. It's not interesting that in Krishna consciousness you don't get old, you get younger. It's interesting, isn't it? It's because we're identifying with the soul. If you identify with the body and your mind is full of body, yeah? This is the mantra out there. Body, 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 body. Body, 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 body. My body. I even have photographs of my body. When you become a devotee, you relate to the soul. I am spirit soul, part of Krishna. And then you act on that platform, you actually become very light, very free. Mind is peaceful with me. Senses are illuminated with knowledge. There's no anxiety. We live here or we die, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go back home anyway, where there's eternal life. So, what was I saying before that? I forgot now. Was I going to tell you a story? Yeah. So, anyway, when I first came to this Bury Place Temple, which is next to the British Museum, I got a surprise when I first opened the doors of the temple. There was this overwhelming energy. Hit me right in the face. And the smell of incense, the smell of food cooked in ghee. And the actual deities present, the Supreme Lord themselves, present within the temple. And I knew that this was something different. There was something different. I've been searching all my life for something. But here suddenly there was something different. Although I didn't in the beginning like the kirtan, because I was a hippie at the time, and we believed in love and peace. I felt that the kirtan was too loud. Although my rock music was louder. So I had a mental thing about chanting. And I couldn't understand the philosophy either. It was way above my head. But what I did understand was the Sunday feast. I can tell you right here now what was on the plates, because there was two plates. One salty plate and one sweet plate. On the salty plate there were two sabjis cooked in ghee, nicely spiced. There was koftas. There was samosa or puri, or pakora, one of the two. There was pushpan rice. There was chutney. There was a papadam. And I think that was all the sweets. It said seven preparations. And then with the salties, there's halva, sweet rice, laddu, gulab jamuns, shrikant, there was one more sweet. Anyway, even that. And then there was a nectar drink. That's already, 14 preparations. 14 preparations. Prabhupada said in those days that you should come to the temple and eat as much as you like. He said you should walk away like a duck. And that's what I did. Every Sunday feast I came out of the temple like this. Walked away like a duck. And I didn't really participate in any other thing but taking the Sunday feast. I was already addicted the first time I came back. I couldn't wait for the next Sunday feast. And then one day, one devotee asked me, "Oh, you like our food?" I said, "Yeah, it's really nice." He said, "Why don't you come for lunch too?" I said, "Well, why not?" Might as well. So I came every day for lunch. And 3 months passed. 3 months, that's what I was doing. I didn't know it was prasadam. I just thought it was good food. And then one day, I was coming from the temple. I was on the top of a double-decker bus. There was no one else there. And I was just minding my own business, looking out of the window. And then something very mysterious happened to me. But you don't want to know that, do you?
Yes.
We do.
What happened was my lips started to move. And Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I was amazed because I had no feeling to do it. I didn't think about it. It just happened. And that evening I was chanting. I couldn't stop. I went to the temple the next morning and I told the devotees, I have a problem. They said, "Oh, what's your problem?" I said, "I keep chanting your mantra. I can't stop." And one devotee laughed and he said, "You know what you've been eating the last 3 months? Good food. Prasad is Krishna, Krishna is Prasad." He said, "You've been eating so much prasad that you purified your tongue, and now Krishna is dancing on your tongue to induce you to chant." Isn't that amazing? How even eating in our yoga system, even by eating, we're making spiritual advancement. It's the only yoga system where you make advancement by eating, because we're taking prasad. And then, of course, there's a long story. I won't go into the story because it's a little bit too long, how I actually became the devotee. But when I did become a devotee, after 1 year, I got this mystic power. And I suppose you want to know what the mystic power was.
Yes.
I could move my right ear. Oh, wow, this mantra is powerful. And then after 2 years, the muscles of my left ear just went relaxed like the right one, and it started moving. And after 3 years, they started dancing one after another. And I was thinking, what am I going to do with this? This is some mystic power. And in Krishna consciousness, you should use everything in Krishna's service. Now, how am I going to use this in Krishna's service? And I would guess what I did. I was doing some children's workshops. It's interesting how I became involved in children's workshops, Krishna conscious workshops, where I would show the children first some magic. Prabhupada said, if you want the children to do anything, show them some magic. So I went to the magic shop. There's many magic shops here in London. You can buy some magic tricks. And you show the children some magic. And then they're all very, very enthusiastic. They think that you're a great Maharaj, Magic Maharaj they used to call me. And I say to them then, okay, now it's time to chant Hare Krishna. Is that all right? Oh, yes, Maharaj. They were enthusiastic. Right. So then I said to them, look, while we're chanting, just keep an eye on my ears because they're very sensitive. And when they hear children singing, they start dancing. So they start chanting, and they're watching my ears, and nothing is happening. So they chant a little louder. Still nothing's happening. And then they start chanting really loud. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then my ears started to move. So this is interesting how we don't reject anything. In Krishna consciousness, we don't reject anything. The world belongs to Krishna and is Krishna's property. And it can all be used in Krishna's service. So whatever assets we have, we don't just renounce them, become dry renouncers. Like the Mayavadis. If they see a wallet in the street, they'll look at the wallet, the money's there obviously in the wallet. They'll just go around it and say, not for me. I renounce. And they carry on looking. The materialists will see the wallet. And they'll go off to the nearest hi-fi shop? What do you call it?
Maybe the pub.
What do you call these shops? Hi-fi shop? Get a new computer or something? If a devotee sees the wallet, what does he do? He says, oh, a wallet. He picks it up and he looks inside the wallet. He sees the money, but he's also searching for the owner. Who does this belong to? I remember it happened to me in Totnes when I was living in the southwest of England. I saw a wallet one morning, and it was a Kadashi that day. And I had been fasting, and I had just come from the shop buying some fruits or something so I could offer and then respect. It was a fasting. I fasted in the morning. But I found this wallet, so I thought, well, I'll take prasad first, and then I'll take it to the police station. So I was in my motorhome, and I offered the Volga. I was taking prasad, but I didn't feel very comfortable because I knew I had some property that belonged to someone else. And if someone had seen me pick the money up, they could be knocking on my door the next minute and saying, we saw you steal that money. So I was in a little bit of anxiety. But anyway, after I had taken prasadam, I went to the police station. I said, I found this wallet. Please sort it out. So that's a devotee. We don't want anything that doesn't belong to us. Some devotees may think, well, if everything belongs to Krishna, why did you give it into the police station? You could have used it in Krishna's service. Well, that's true, but it wouldn't be very honest, would it? And I think that we could safely say that Krishna is no poor man. So if he needs money in a particular temple, he will supply it without you having to take from someone else. And there was a nice incident in Russia, I think it was in Russia it happened, where a devotee did find some money, and in the wallet there was so much money, it was unbelievable amount of money. And he picked it up, and he saw the address, and the name and address of the person it belonged to. He phoned him up, he said, I just found your wallet. If you can meet me, I will give it to you back. The man was shocked. He said, you found my wallet? He said, yeah, I found your wallet. Yeah. Is there any money inside? He said, yeah, it's packed with money. And you are phoning me so I can take my wallet back? Yeah, come. I'm in such and such place. When the man came to receive his wallet, he opened it up, and took half of it and gave it to the devotee. That's for being honest. You know? So that's a sweet story. So let's practice Krishna consciousness. Use everything that we have in Krishna service, and everything else is guaranteed. It's automatic. We have what we call an automatic drive in Krishna consciousness, like an automatic car. You put it in the right gear, in the right position, and then the gears will change automatically. So we need to just chant our 16 rounds every day, follow the 4 regulated principles, do a little bit of service, observe these festival days like today, associate with the devotees, and you will see how that gear will change from the lower to the higher. The lower values will be gradually rejected, and you will only accept the higher values. Thank you so much. Prabhupada ki jai. Balaram's appearance day ki jai. Right.
Would you like to take some questions?
Okay.
If anyone's got any questions they want to ask?
Yeah. Maharaj, you give very good example of the fan spinning. So my question is that we are in the process of devotional service now. So this is the fan is spinning. So how we can understand that we are nearing to that position, action, then no reaction.
This is where faith comes in, because we have Shastra. It tells us very clearly that as we are chanting, we minimize our reactions, we become purified, and we also become Krishna conscious. The mind becomes peaceful, and as I said, the senses become illuminated with knowledge. So it's just like when you're hungry and you start eating. Like we fasted this morning.
Can't wait for the feast.
Right. So we're hungry now because we've been fasting. And then when we start respecting, we would take bite after bite, preparation after preparation, and we feel, oh yes, I'm feeling more stronger. I'm feeling elated, blissful. So the same with practicing Krishna consciousness. It doesn't really take very much for us to see that we're making advancement. It's like going to the Holy Dham also. You can be there 2 days, and after 2 days you suddenly see how easy it becomes to chant your japa and do all the other things which, before was a little bit difficult. So to the degree that we embrace Krishna consciousness, to that degree, Krishna will reciprocate, not just coming one step that you took, he will come 2 or 3 steps to you. And that way you will see, oh, Krishna is right beside me, he's guiding me and protecting me through my service. Okay?
Thank you.
Anything else?
Maharaj, you talked about preaching to a difficult audience. Maharaj, you spoke about preaching in difficult places, difficult people. Would you please tell us more about that? I find it very difficult. This is why I find myself always in situations with people who are not really God conscious. I find it very difficult sometimes.
Difficult because people around you are not Krishna conscious?
Yes, not God conscious at
Yeah.
all.
I can tell you a story in that connection. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
There was a man who he was complaining about his environment. As you are saying, the environment around us is not always very sweet. And it's easy to become affected. So this man was so disturbed that he even decided everything in his life was just going wrong. So he decided that he was going to commit suicide. But he thought that he would go to the forest first, one last ditch attempt to see if God could help him. So he came to the forest and he shouted out, "God, give me one good reason why I should not commit suicide." And to his surprise, God answered him. He said, "Yes, you see around you, you see all the different plants around you." He said, "I planted the fern and the bamboo at the same time. The fern came up the very first year. Second year, it then went spreading throughout the whole forest. The third year, there was nothing but fern all over the forest. Any sign of the bamboo? No sign. Fourth year, still no sign of the bamboo. Only on the fifth year, there were shoots of the bamboo. Now, what was the bamboo doing all those years? What do you think? What was the bamboo doing that 5 years under the ground?
Sleeping.
Huh?
Sleeping.
Sleeping?
Supporting the fern.
No.
Let's get nourished.
Who said roots? Strong roots. When those strong roots were there, then it started shooting, and within just a short time, the bamboo was up here. It's a nice story because the moral is like this. Difficulties are not bad. Actually, they make us stronger. We think sometimes we should hide or reject difficult situations. But actually, what I do is I embrace them. I keep the door open. Next difficulty, I'm ready for you. Yeah, if you do that, see that the difficulties are not they're not really aversions. They're not there to stop you. They're there to strengthen you. Prabhupada also said that we should voluntarily accept some inconvenience for Krishna. And Krishna will see your sincerity of purpose. And he will give you spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is given to us because we dare to do something which most would not do. So the next time there's a difficult situation, you try to see Krishna in it. Okay, Krishna's testing me here, and I will show him how I will overcome this obstacle or this difficult situation. So don't think that, if you think about it, 21st century, we have so many comforts. There's so many technological things that we use to make life easier. We get our food from the superstore. You know, material comfort is at its highest in society today. But the problem is the slightest inconvenience, we're up in arms. You know, so we need to balance out the good that we have along with the inconveniences that we're being experiencing. And in one sense, in Krishna consciousness, everything is all good. There's nothing bad. You should see it like that. There's a butterfly trying to get out of its cocoon. He's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And a man's watching. Oh, how long will it take before he gets out? But suddenly the butterfly stopped pushing, and the man was thinking, he cannot get out, so I will help him. He cut the cocoon with a pair of scissors, waiting for the butterfly to fly away. But it didn't fly away. It just dropped on the floor. And it was an invalid for the rest of its life. Why? He was thinking that I'm doing a favor, but actually he did an injustice, because that pushing in the cocoon was feeding liquid to the wings of that butterfly, so that by the time it got out, the wings would be strong enough to fly. So this is an example that difficulties are not bad to making us stronger. Each one we overcome makes us that much better person. We have to believe that. If I was to record all the difficulties I've had in the last 70 years, I don't know, it would be a long list. And if someone came to me, would you like to have your life differently? Would you like to have it better without all those difficulties? I would say no. I'm happy that there were some difficulties, because I learned from them and I became stronger from them. So think about that, okay? There is really no problem. And a lot of it is coming from the mind. The mind is saying, this is a problem. He is my friend. He is my enemy. But the only enemy really is our mind, who is dictating to us. So the more we are Krishna conscious, the less the mind will dictate in a negative fashion.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the talk. At the moment, I'm finding it a little bit concerning with our community that we're becoming, I don't know if we're becoming, but it's a little bit sectarian with how we sometimes view ourselves and non-devotees. And I think this could be a problem for developing our self-compassion and also for our own well-being in the surroundings that we live in. And also I think this could be also like a bit of an obstacle for preaching Krishna consciousness.
That's a good question. And actually we are not making the distinction, but Krishna does it for us. In the Bhagavad Gita he explains the nature of devotees and the nature of non-devotees. He's made the distinction. And we're reciprocating with that distinction. However, in Krishna consciousness we don't reject anyone because we know the power of the holy name. We know the power. Anyone who says Hare Krishna, we say, yeah, come on in. They only have to say Hare Krishna, you come. We know that here's a person, he has the potential to be a devotee. We say us and them simply because there is a difference between spiritual life and materialistic life. It has to be pointed out. It's important to point it out. but at the same time, we're compassionate to anyone who is willing to inquire about spiritual life and our philosophy and way of life. There must be that distinction made. You know, we're not the only ones that do it. Even the non-devotees, they make distinctions between governments. This is a good government, this is not good. So there's distinctions going on all the time. But we have this one distinction which separates our life, our style of life, to the other style of life. It is very profound. Everything in the materialistic society is based on the bodily concept. In Krishna consciousness, it's based on the philosophy of the soul. So there's a difference. You will act differently. You think you're this body, and you're only this body, you'll act accordingly. If you know that you're an eternal soul and that the body is a vehicle for the soul, you will act in a different way. Okay?
Thank you very much, Dhirasanta Maharaj, for a really wonderful class and for answering our questions. So now we will continue on with our program. The next item on the program, I think, is quite an important item. I'm just trying to remember what it is. What did you say? Prasada. Yeah. So. Yeah. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to have 2 seatings, and also we have to be quite swift as well, because after we serve the prasadam, there will be Harinam, and there will be Arti Kirtan here in 4:15. So we have to make sure that we get everything done. And what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 sittings. So some of you can stay here for the first sitting, and some of you, if you could, please wait up in the seminar room, and then we'll bring you down for the second sitting. And those who are in the first sitting, please, without causing indigestion of course, but please take swiftly, and as soon as you're done, please vacate the temple room so that we can welcome everyone down for the second sitting. Okay, any other announcements we need to announce right now? Great, alright, so if you can all sit in rows for the feast, we'll make it much easier to serve. Thank you very much. His Holiness Dhirasanta Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Baladeva ki Jai, Shri Baladev Mahamotsava ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi.